Funny to me. See who's in the house. And I'm probably early. What time is it? You think it would be better without Kenya's joy? You ready, boss lady? Who should we start with? Okay, first of all, we're talking about season 10, episode 10, Storming Out. And I guess since the title is Storming Out, we might as well talk about Kenya and the way she stormed out. And hey, squad in the house, Rhonda, Camille, Woo Woo, Diva Law. Okay, slowly but surely we coming in a little bit. Okay, but y'all know I don't never see it for Kenya, but I would officially like to say that I feel like Kenya was ambushed. I really feel that way. And the reason I feel that way is because editing is really something that a lot of people get tricked by. And so when you watch the scenes with Kenya tonight, first of all, the scene with Samia calling, saying, asking for directions, and Kenya like cut her off real quick. Okay, that could have happened that way. But think of it this way. They were working and Kenya was like, production could have told her how to get there. Anybody could have told her how to get there. So, that annoyance seemed reasonable. Okay, when she was eating. And I hate having to defend Kenya, but I just feel like I owe this one. But when she was eating with the ladies and she came in and the kitchen was closed and she couldn't get any food, she was already annoyed then. So what was she doing? Asking for water, asking for something, asking for a piece of chicken, asking for anything, like give me a piece of bread, something. But in the meanwhile, everybody wants to have a conversation. So I can see Kenya being like, okay, can we cut this short? I want to go get something to eat. I'm tired. We've been working all day. And they continue the conversation. And she's saying things like, this isn't really the time. And Shamia was like, we want to make it the time. And Shamia's not even a peach holder. So it's like, should I engage her? Should I not engage her? So when we see Kenya storming out into the bathroom, I feel like she's like, I'm done. Like production is playing me. When Porsha went in there, she's like, I don't have anything to say to you, Porsha. But she wasn't rude to Porsha. She was rude to production. She's flipping birds to the cameraman. So it was just interesting to went down. And when Kenya was in the truck and Cynthia came outside and said, and King said, that pretty much is code word for I'm not filming this scene. Like it's done. Like I'm not engaging. Let it go. So yeah, that gave me that Kenya got the bad edit. That I'm done with Kenya. For a second. House, is everyone in the house, squad? Okay, what are we saying? Hey, Sky, it came off that she was foul. 5 minutes. 35 minutes. But yeah, it came off like she was foul. But again, editing can make people look really bad. And I mean, I know Kenya doesn't need any editing. Like you will not hear me defending her any other time. But when I saw it, that's the first thing I got from it. So let's see. Shereé. Shereé on the phone with this con man is giving me all sorts of dumb woman tease. First of all, I just don't see it for a woman who won't believe another woman or believes this man who's in prison over another woman. You know what I'm saying? So Shereé seems like, and I tweeted this, she seems like the type of woman who will believe her man over, anything that a woman would say. And so her man's telling her that Nene wanted him and she believes it. I'm not buying it. Was Nene separated around the time she was on Trump? Celebrity Apprentice, supposedly, but like I said in the site, they weren't actually separated. They still lived together. They were working it out, whatever whatever it is. Yes, Biggie has a fresh fade and he wants to be shown, honey. He wants to be shown. But as far as Tyrone is concerned, Tyrone was just trying to get any housewife, not necessarily Nene, not necessarily Shereé. I think it was, I can't remember who else was involved with that season. It might have been Kim, I'm not sure. But Tyrone, from what I understand, is a social climber. Like I said in my last video, he was throwing around money. If he came to the Apprentice set, I would think that Nene was trying to get money from him for her charity to win her charitable event. So that's what Apprentice is. Apprentice is not a set where somebody can come and just stand around and watch. You know, that's not the type of show it is. So, I mean, I was just listening to some of the things that Shereé was saying, and I'm like, girl, like, really? Like, it's just a bad look altogether for her as a woman. To believe this man that's sitting up in jail, claiming that, you know, he didn't want this woman and this woman was chasing her. And it sounds like a personal thing with Shereé, because you know, this has happened in the past before, because she was one of the main people anonymously on my site accusing me of chasing after Bob. Bob didn't want Michelle. Michelle was chasing after Bob, and that wasn't the case. Like, if anybody knows the situation, you know, Bob was calling me, but that's on us. We might have been calling each other. We were friends. So, you know, this is a bad look for a woman to just go off on another woman on some bullcrap. And then what was the other thing that I was saying about Shereé? Oh, Tyrone talking about her ass and all this stuff. This man ain't seen an ass in 5 years. Like, of course he gonna talk about her ass. Like, send me an ass shot, child. Like, but anyway, it was a hi Joshua, I see you. Kim, oh God, I don't want to talk about Kim yet. Kim wasn't even in this episode, and I was so happy that she wasn't. There was Samia and Porsha's fake makeup. Samia and Porsha, as you know, they've been friends forever. You know, there was a little rift last year when, you know, the whole Kandi situation was involved, because Samia was pretty much in the middle between Kandi and Porsha. At the end of the day, Samia and Porsha are still cool. They've been still cool. And I feel like Shamia's appearance in this episode, as much as she was for Porsha. No, again, just like Kandi said, no one was dealing with Porsha. No one wanted to film with Porsha. Kandi didn't go to Houston because of Porsha. Shereé didn't go to Houston because of Porsha. You know, like, it was just, well, she says it's her back, but at the end of the day, no one was dealing with Porsha. So Samia took up that slack. Like I've told you before on the site, Samia was offered a peach, but she turned it down because her husband, her new husband, didn't want her to have a peach. So as far as, you know, us seeing her, you know, every now and then, that's fine. We will see her a lot, you know, because she has some connections with the cast, which is a smart thing. But as far as her holding a peach, she doesn't want one. She can have one, but she doesn't want one. So that's that. Let me think. Kandi and Riley. So bad for Riley. I don't think Kandi knew how it was going to affect her. You know, they were just, you know, on a joyful little mother-daughter day. She's driving her G-Wagon. Everything's cool. And then she gets this call from her dad while they're filming. Of course, Riley's going to feel some kind of way. I came on last season and all the dirt fell out about Kandi being with him while he was still married to another lady who also had kids. That was harmful to Riley. And I believe, you know, Kandi called me about that, and she still feels some kind of way about me. At the end of the day, everybody in Atlanta, it's not something that's a secret. Like, everybody in Atlanta knew that that Block was in a relationship. He was seeing Kandi, and everyone knew that Riley was conceived while he was technically, or however you want to call it, with another woman. So, you know, that's an embarrassing situation for a 15-year-old. And for just kind of ambush her like that, you know, shit, I'm with Riley. I probably would have ran in the house crying too. I did like the fact that, you know, Kandi had a private conversation with Block and that they agreed to, you know, try to co-parent. I think Riley was crying, woo-woo, because, you know, it's kind of embarrassed. Her father has kids by, you know, I don't know, 2 or 3 different women or whatever. The whole situation, like I said last season, you know, they never really had a relationship, and they didn't have that relationship because he had a full-blown family, like a wife and kids that, you know, when Kandi got pregnant, he didn't want her to have that baby. And that's besides the point. Kandi had the child, you know, he should take care of the child, all of that. But, you know, you cannot, and I hate to say this, you know, because you know, every man should support their children, but you cannot reasonably believe or assume that this man is gonna like just leave his family to, you know, cleave to this other child. Sometimes, you know, they do what they do. They stay with, you know, the woman they're with and the family they're with. And it's sad, but it happened. And here we are 15 years later, and they're finally getting to the point where, you know, they're willing to make it work. So that's a good thing. But again, I just wish that Kandi would keep the situation off air, because as a teenager, I'm sure Riley is, you know, bombarded with these things at school. You know, you got other kids talking about it, their parents talking about it. Nobody wants, I mean, she shouldn't be subjected to that. This is my personal opinion. Yeah. And let's see, I got me some little notes here. Kenya, rude to Shamia, talk about that. Cynthia being a flip-flopper. Who didn't know Cynthia was flip-flopper? Cynthia's been a flip-flopper. Cynthia go like it was a joke. Last season, they were talking about how Cynthia just goes whichever way the wind blows. So, you know, she went to Houston not to necessarily support Porsha, but because Porsha, you know, had gotten this Houston thing together and none of the other ladies were going. So Cynthia decided to go. I'll do my own event. And she wasn't expecting Kenya to show up. And if you notice, Kenya came just as Porsha was leaving or after Porsha left Cynthia's event. And then all of a sudden, Cynthia's all gung-ho for anything Kenya has to do, you know, whatever, you know, leaving Porsha out in the wind. So that was interesting. And I'm going to cut it short. I'm going to leave the rest for the site. But the one thing I want to talk about was, you know, next week, Eva finally joins the ladies. We get to see how she interacts with everyone. One of the main things that, you know, we've been buzzing about for months was the situation where Eva was the one who actually had proof that Will was an opportunist, i.e. he allegedly had a girlfriend or has a girlfriend that he was with at the time of the show. The story is on Straight from the A. I also provide the link here after, you know, this video uploads and everything, but the story is on straightfromtheA.com. It's called Cynthia's Boyfriend Has a Girlfriend, and it has the picture. Apparently, Will and his then girlfriend, I don't know if they're still together, joined Eva and her now fiance while he was running for mayor, and they were campaigning for him. So there's a picture of all 4 of them. Coincidentally, Will deleted the picture, but, you know, of course, I have it. So it's on Straight from the A. And yeah. Are there any questions that you guys have about the episodes or anything anyone else would like to ask? And I really don't want to talk about KKK Kim because she wasn't on the episode, thank God. But apparently, you know, she'll be back next week, still throwing shade at Kenya and her husband. That's all good. You said Cynthia was flip-flopping bad this time? Yeah. Yeah. Eva got the nerve to call Will 5150 when Kevin McCall is out here clucking around social media. That is true. But, you know, she got to do what she got to do. And I don't know the reason why she called Will crazy. I'm not privy to that particular information. Like I said in a previous video, I know Will pretty well. I've never heard that about him. What I know about him, he seems pretty stable. He has a daughter. His child's mom, he was never with. I think she had some issues or whatever, whatever happened with that. I know it was a lot of drama. He was previously engaged. When I met him, I've been out on a date with him before. The reason why I didn't go out on a date with excuse me, but when I spill my own tea, I get flustered, honey. But the reason why I didn't go on a date with him again after the first date is because I found out through a mutual friend that he was engaged at the time. That's neither here nor there. I made my assessment based on the information that I was given, and I left him alone. Since then, we cool. I see him out. It's like, hey, let's take a picture, yada, yada, we cool. So when I saw him at Cynthia's event, we talked about this in the earlier episode, I already knew what was up. So, and when he saw me, he was like, uh-oh, here comes trouble. Because he knew that once I saw the situation, that I would know what was up. And anyway, I called it, and here I am. So I will be writing the recap and posting the full episode at about midnight because I have to wait for it to air on the West Coast. So I'll let you know how that goes. You said a serial cheater. I mean, this is Atlanta, Sexy Sky Doll. He is an attractive man, and a lot of attractive men are, unfortunately, serial cheaters in this city. Hi, Indiana. I believe Cynthia is still with Peter on the low. That is what I think. That is what I believe. Cynthia and Peter are both very strategic most of the ladies are very strategic when it comes to this reality show business, which is why I blog about it, because I like talking about the behind the scenes things that I know about. And I honestly feel like, Peter was posting, other women to get the blogs to run with it. It's in this day and age, stars manipulate social media, and it is what it is. But I personally feel like Cynthia and Peter are together often. So some men in Atlanta tend to date multiple women. Yes. Ooh. Yes. So I'm going to end this video now, but I'm going to go ahead and the recap will be up probably, like I said, at midnight. And hopefully I'll be able to do these a little bit more often. I like engaging with y'all, and I like, spilling a little bit that I know. Yeah, do I think Peter and Cynthia are still married and still in love? They did file for divorce. I don't know if the divorce was ever final. How about that? They are together often. She's in Charlotte hosting his club. He's here. He's going to be filming a few more scenes. So we'll talk about it, y'all. We'll talk about it. But for all of you who follow me on social media, who read straight from the A.com, a lot of this, what I've said in the past, has come to fruition. My tea is normally great tea. And my sources are good. So anyway, I just wanted to come through and say hi and talk to y'all. See y'all later. Bye.